Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the Materials. Today's video is the third episode of my series on Unexpected Joy at Dawn by Agyei-Agyiri. The first and second episodes covered chapter 1 to 18, so I'm going to start from chapter 19. Chapter 19. Nee and Massa boarded the bus, which is overloaded. On their way to the festival, their car bumped through many potholes, and after one of the big bumps, Massa died and was taken to the hospital close to the faith healer's place. Massa was confirmed dead and deposited in the hospital's mortuary. Nee goes to the faith healer's place, which has the bold inscription, God is beyond science. He was made to confess his sins. He thought about what had just happened to Massa in tears. He was consoled and he went back to join the congregation after the confession. Chapter 20. In the evening, Mama was happy. She was hosting the 6 senior members of Amen Christi. They are planning to conduct a crusade and plant more churches. In the compound of a small house in Eba, a man is seen praying with talisman. After prayers, he meets his wife, who was also praying with a radio on. He switched it off and told her that prayers are said in a quiet environment. They talked with disdain about the notices and billboards of crusade all over the place and says they've got to stop them. Nee is at home feeling lonely and restless. He dreams about Nigeria while he sleeps. Chapter 21. Nee joined a group of illegal migrants going to Nigeria through the bushes. At a point, everyone was made to change into a tattered clothes. Nee doesn't have such clothes, so he had to sew the one he was wearing. The border guards at Lome caught them and one of them was shot. They paid the soldiers 10 naira each before being allowed to enter Lome. Nee met Aaron, one of the loan applicants whose application was rejected due to the bank policy. He became his companion during the journey. After they left Lome border, they ran into the outskirts of the country. He was told a car would come and carry them to Benin. It is easier to travel to Nigeria through Benin. He looked around and didn't see Aaron and he assumed he had already escaped, since he wasn't the one that was shot. Now we're in part 2 of the novel. Part 2, Chapter 1. The trip from Lome to Benin was uneventful. Nee continues the journey with another young man, Ezla, whom he started the journey with. The name Ezla is the anglicized form of Ursula. Nee introduced himself and they recognized each other and how they met at the university. They approached a lorry station where they boarded bikes. Nee's bikeman took off even before Nee had settled, after asking him to have his 5 naira fare at hand. On their way, Nee was robbed by the bikeman who told him that they still had 8 kilometers to cover before getting to Nigeria, only for Nee to realize they had already crossed Nigerian border. He approached a house, changed his clothes, knelt down, prayed and kissed the floor, only for him to see a custom officer standing over him. He asked Nee if he was a Ghanaian. Nee said he's a Nigerian, but the custom officer did not believe him as Nee bears Ghanaian name and could not speak any of the Nigerian indigenous languages. And Nee also speaks English fluently. The trouble mark on Nee's face could not save him because the custom officer knew that Ghanaians also have tribal marks. Since he was not able to convince the custom officer and others that he's a Nigerian, they took him and other immigrants, including Aaron, in a vehicle as they drove through Lagos. Nee asked them where they were taking them. He also found a chance to explain that he is a member of Orojo's family who were deported to Nigeria from Ghana for the same reason of being aliens. Palio, instead of taking them to prison, offers them a job in his house. He asks a woman at a well, that is Nee, asks a woman at a well if she knew about Orojo's family, but she says no. He tries severally to prove to them that he's a Nigerian using his tribal mark as the only evidence, but Palio and his men do not believe him. He was further handed over to another younger man who would take care of him. Chapter 2. It was Harmattan period in Nigeria, which is usually associated with bush burning. Fire is burning the grasses around Miliki building. That is the building where the illegal migrants are staying. A flat in the building later caught the fire and the people in the building ran out for safety. Neil was the only one watching the scene from the hilltop near the white church where he had already prayed. Aaron was anxious about him, thinking he had left. He met a woman that resembles his mom. That is, Neil met a woman that resembles his mom, but some saw that the woman isn't his mom. Two men were returning from fetching water in Miliki water tap. One of the men introduced himself as Tom Monday. Neil talked to him. He tried so much to convince the man that he is a Nigerian, but the man did not believe him. He managed to find out from the man that Mama Orojo lives in Ijesha. Neil was assigned to wash and work with a pickup at 4 naira per day. His work is to offload and load drinks from shop to shop wherever the pickup goes. He agreed and said that he would use the money to go to Ijesha to look for more Orojo. After the fourth trip from carrying empty bottles to the storehouse, he was tired, but he kept on working. He heard a little rustling from under the carton and accidentally dropped the carton, and the bottles came crashing except two. They went from shop to shop offloading drinks and loading empty bottles. Then he met two beautiful Ghanaian ladies, and one of them invited him to the hotel they were staying. In one of the markets, he saw a fat woman who reminds him of a woman he knew at McCollum Market, Accra. On their way back, the driver asked where he worked and why he's in Nigeria. He told him he is a bank executive in Ghana and is in Nigeria to look for his family. The driver reiterates that he doesn't look nor behave like a Nigerian, which will make it difficult for one to believe him. Chapter 3. Before leaving for Ghana, Mama Orojo sold the diamonds and gold she bought in Ghana to an old man in Shehu Hotel in Nigeria. Neil narrates his day's experience to Aaron. Aaron had fallen off the unfinished tractor while they were repairing it. Neil tells him that a woman who looks like him and bears his family name is said to live in Ijesha. Then they plan to visit Ijesha. Chapter 4. In Accra, Mama is lodged in Dan Hotel. She visited different beautiful sites in the hotel. She wrote down the things she intends to do the next day, which includes visiting the village in search of her brother. She called Joe's house but was told that he was in a meeting and would be available the next morning. Then she shifted her visit to Joe to be on the third day and decides to go to the village to look for her brother the next day. At the church office, a police officer who complained about the inadequate stationaries in the station suddenly mentions the name "I put to me." He hands a notebook to Mama and demanded she writes her name and the address in Ghana. The police looks at Mama curiously because she wrote Bayaman as her address. He talked to her about crimes and how people who seem innocent always end up being criminals. She leaves for Awisa, her village, the village where they lived in Ghana, in search of her brother. She met a lady who told her about the family of her brother's adopters and that the man who adopted him gave him, that is his brother, university education and that his brother works in a bank. She connects her with their queen mother, Bella Akuma, who happens to be Mama's old friend. Chapter 5. Ni and Aaron went to Lere to visit one of the Ghanaian girls he met in one of the warehouses while he worked as a loader. Aaron waited at the lobby while he goes in with the lady. The lady tried getting in bed with Nee, but Nee asked her to slow down and tell him about herself. She narrated how her father was killed by the army during the revolution in Ghana because they said he was a saboteur. Then their properties were also seized by the government and they had to escape to other countries to avoid being annihilated. Her mom, who is in Ivory Coast, is suffering. She told me that what she wants most in life is to get married. As they discussed, Nee kept calling her Massa instead of Masha or Mash. The fat hotel proprietor who sleeps with the lady to protect her from immigration is at the door. Nee leaves while the man enters. In Miliki's house, Aaron and Nee were queried and were accused of trying to escape. They were made to apologize, even though they did not want to apologize.